Yes, people, bless up on yourself in a good morning to each and everyone. Thanks for being here again. Thanks for taking the time out to tune into the channel. You don't know, respect goes out to the people that coming over here for the first time, but you don't know, checking in on the reggae players, reggae boy players on the move. You would say it's like a weekly thing. I think it's going to happen right through the end of the transfer window, but you don't know there. Look, saw one yesterday about Omari Hutchinson. I'm going to get into that as well. And actually, Mason Holgate, the deal is finished. Mason Holgate joined up with his new teammate, new coaching staff, new team, Al Garaf. That's I think Al Garafa, I think the Qatari club, but I will get into it as well. And also a little bit a reggae boy player that who was in the dust a couple months ago, the player that a lot of people forgot, one and only Shamar Nicholson. I will be chit-chatting about Shamar Nicholson and get into it as well. So right after this, I will get into the video and jump into the Shamar Nicholson story. Yeah, so Shamar Nicholson, man, this one I think need a little bit chit-chatting, what is really going on with Shamar Nicholson's career at this moment. When you look at it, the Apertura League, have started over the weekend. His team played their first game at home. He was involved in that game as well. He started that game as well. And there's a little few stuff happening around the football club that Shamar Nicholson is operating at this moment. Look, he had a wonderful preseason. He had a full preseason building up to the Apertura League. The coach said that he want to see Shamar Nicholson, he want to see what the player is made up of. He don't want to listen and hear the noise. That's what happened last season. He want to see it for himself. And with a player that exit the club, the top marksman Zuniga is not at the club anymore. He's at the Giant club, a team that Shamar Nicholson will be playing tomorrow, Club America. Yeah, Zuniga move on a few days ago, sign up with the team, the Giant team in Liga. And this is an opportunity, for Shamar Nicholson, where, look, he needs to exploit this opportunity. This is a way for him, if he's going to get back on rhythm, if he's going to get back on match sharp, if he's get back on the level of Shamar Nicholson, played, in previous years. He needs to do that as well. And with full preseason under his belt, new coach at the helm, new direction, new chemistry, new tactics, new everything. It's like a whole clean slate for Shamar Nicholson. So you say, look, this is an opportunity, it's a lifetime opportunity for him to rejuvenate his career and to help his team, to finish in a higher position on the table of where they finished last season. I'm thinking, look, if there was a relegation. If there was a relegation scrap in the Liga MX last season, in the Clausura, his team will be fighting to stay alive in the Liga MX. But now, looking at it, getting fresh start, if you look at it, the build-up for the next, I would say, international window. I don't want to say Boza, should be in the next, reggae boy squad that will announce for the September window. But if you look at when his season started, the competitive games, he have like 10 games until the break of the September window. You say, look, he needs to get ahead of himself. I think out of a lot of the players, he is ahead in terms of his preparation, in terms of preseason, in terms of when his season starts. So he should grab this opportunity and make use of it. But looking at the game that he played, I mean, look, it was an okay game for me with Shamar Nicholson. Could have done a little bit better, got the opportunity, but again, first game out of the block, still, trying, the team still trying to find, that match sharpness in terms of getting their feet wet, playing competitive. They play QATARI at home in Tijuana. Now his next game tomorrow will be away to Club America, a Giant team. So these are the moments that Shamar needs to take advantage of. And if he can do something against Club America and try to get his team to get a positive result, look, he will be more on the fan side, because the fans also are not really in favor of the reggae boy playoff in terms of his form, in terms of his delivery. He's not doing the best of what he can do, in the Tijuana shirt. Yeah, he started out really positively, when his time started under Carlos Osorio, Juan Carlos Osorio, the Colombian. No, that man is not at ML anymore. So, Shamar Nicholson needs to prepare and, try to get something going on for Tijuana. Big game tomorrow, and I will be looking forward to that game. That game will definitely be a televised game for the Reggae Boy player. But also, Mason Holgate signed a 2-year deal. Finally deal done. Signed up with the QATARI club. I think they said like a 1-year optional deal is on the line at the end of the 2-year deal. But look, is it that you surprised that Mason Holgate find himself in the Middle East but not find himself a championship club? There was offer, there was interest, but again, when you have 2.6 million on the line annual salary, it's a difficult one to turn down, especially look at the age of the player. I think he's like 28 going into 29 next year. So I mean, there's a lot of factor in it, but you want to see the Reggae Boy players been playing at the high level. You want to see them play at the high level, keep a championship contract going. The championship, it's a tough league, it's very competitive, and if you go to the Qatari league, not so more impressed of a championship, but again, a player have to do what he have to do. But I mean, look, I'm happy for the player that he finally get a club, and can he get his feet wet for the next couple of weeks, try to get in terms of some rhythm, get back his fitness up, get back some competitive game under his belt. I think there's a marquee player in that squad as well. I think Oselu is a marquee player in that squad. I saw him hug Oselu during the conversation of meeting his new teammates and stuff like that. So let's see what's going to happen. But yeah, Mason Holgate sign up with the new Qatari club, and also his team who will be playing in the AFC second tier continental tournament in Asia as well. So he will be playing something similar like the Europa League in Asia. But is it a good deal? Let me know what you guys think. Is it that a good deal for Mason Holgate to sign up with the Qatari club rather than stay in the championship? He played for West Brom last season and loan from Everton. He saw his contract wired down to a end, where Everton released a number of players at the end of their season. So I mean, let's see what's going to happen with Mason Holgate. But is it a good deal to Mason Holgate move away from the UK to sign up with the Middle East team in Qatar football? But moving on, the one that I saw yesterday about Omari Hutchinson, Omari Hutchinson, Fabrizio Romano tweet out that, if the deal for Mbeumo go through, he will be the option for Brentford. And a lot of Reggae Boys fans out there would say, after the Ipswich Town relegation, not much offer will be there on the line. With him, played in the Under-21 Championship, just probably a few weeks ago that campaign, they were champion. It was a magnificent season. It was a big learning curve for him as well. So I mean, if that's the reason why the player turn his back against the Jamaica national team to play in the U21 setup, played in a Euro, that's a big tournament. It's one of the probably the biggest youth tournament in Europe as well, that the most prestige tournament that you can ever play in. I mean, but look at it. So it seems like Brentford will be on their tail to try and get Omari Hutchinson if the Mbeumo deal go through. We saw even reports coming out from the Athletic yesterday that look, the relegation release class is 35 million. A lot of club will not go in for Omari Hutchinson. No, that release class is expired yesterday, so the player and Ipswich Town can negotiate with any other club. Before, I think it was yesterday, which was Monday, or I think it was over the weekend, that relegation release class, it was expired. Clubs could have pay the 35 million and then start to negotiate personal deal with the player. But no, that deal expired. Now you have to go through Ipswich, negotiate how much they think is the best offer, to release and to sell, Omari Hutchinson. But a lot of Reggae Boy fans, a lot of Reggae Boy people that watch the national team think that Omari Hutchinson will never get an offer after the relegation from Ipswich Town into the championship. And a lot of people say he's going to regret the move playing for the U21. England is not going to call any player from the championship. No, we saw a Premier League club linking with Omari Hutchinson, and maybe because of the $35 million release clause that was in his contract for a certain time frame. Maybe why no clubs really going in for him. Just wait until, why not just wait until that expiration finish, then you can go in and negotiate for something at a lower cost. I don't think he can cost much, to be honest. Around between, I think he probably cost around 20 million. But again, a lot of reggaeboyz fans will be opening up their eye like, huh? Brentford is in or have him as a backup plan to replace one of their star player in Buemo. But leave it right there, people. Thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for being here again. Look, if you're new to the channel and you like this and you're way out, subscribe, like the video, comment. Ciao, people. Peace out. Thanks for seeing you again. Hopefully, I don't know when I will see you, but hopefully tomorrow morning, another video for the morning. Saturday, I will see you tomorrow. Rest upon yourself. Peace out. Ciao.